Welcome to a new episode. I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It is said that when Idris, peace be upon him, was born, the worship of idols weakened among the descendants of Qabil. One of their great idols, whom they used to worship, revere, and sacrifice to, fell down. Their king at that time was alarmed, so they gathered to discuss what had happened. Then Iblis came to them in the form of an elderly man with abundant gray hair. Gray hair was astonishing to them because they had never seen it before. Gray hair only appeared among them after the time of Prophet Nuh, Noah, peace be upon him, following the flood. It is also said that the first person to have gray hair was Abraham, peace be upon him. He asked, "O Lord, what is this?" Allah replied, "It is dignity." Ibrahim said, "O Allah, increase me in dignity." It is said that Iblis came to them in the form of a spiritual being with wings. He told their king, Umahal, "A child has been born to Mahalalel, who will become an enemy to the gods and an enemy to the kingdom. The corruption you are preoccupied with is caused by him." Umahal asked, "Can you bring about his destruction?" Iblis replied, "I will do my best." Then Allah assigned angels to protect Idris, so when Iblis and his soldiers approached, the angels prevented them from reaching him. In his time, a planet from the wandering planets appeared, remaining visible for 33 days. His father built a temple for him and taught him the scriptures. He was diligent in studying them, as well as in fasting and prayer, until he reached the age of 40. Then Allah Almighty granted him knowledge and wisdom for 40 years. The angel Ruhail came to him and taught him about astronomy, the planets, their movements, orbits, and the shapes of constellations and zodiac signs. It is said that he was the first to observe the stars after Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. In the Torah, it is mentioned that Idris, peace be upon him, served Allah excellently, so Allah elevated him to himself. When Idris witnessed the people of Qabil indulging in sins and idol worship, he asked Allah to raise him to himself and purify him from his sins. Allah answered his request and inspired him to dwell in the temple with his followers for 40 days. Idris also entrusted his son, Methuselah, with a special instruction, as Allah had revealed to him to include the instruction in Methuselah, for from his descendants a prophet would emerge who would do what is pleasing to Allah. It is said that Idris was ascended to the seventh heaven, and there are accounts mentioning his encounter with the angel of death. He asked Allah to taste death, and then he asked Allah to show him his pleasure and admit him into paradise. Allah granted his requests, and he did not leave paradise. Allah elevated him when he was 150 years old. As for Methuselah, he resided with his brothers, the sons of his brother, in front of the temple, worshipping Allah Almighty along with the 70 chosen leaders. After Allah elevated Idris, peace be upon him, differences and disputes increased, and Iblis spread rumors that he had perished. He claimed that Idris was a priest who attempted to ascend to the heavens and was consequently burned. The descendants of Adam, who adhered to his religion, were deeply saddened by this news. They showed hostility towards their greatest idol and destroyed it. As a result, they intensified their worship of idols, adorned them, and offered sacrifices to them. They established a festival that no one would miss, and at that time, they had 7 idols: Goth, Yuak, Nasar, Wad, Suwa, Mazahi, and Damar. We will mention them in more detail when discussing the worshipped idols. Revelation ceased after Idris, peace be upon him, and those chosen leaders passed away. Whenever one of them died, his children and family would create an image of him in their house to remember him and seek forgiveness for him. When his death approached, he entrusted his son Lamech with the responsibility of preserving the legacy. Lamech was the one who built the first mosque, and his father handed over to him the sealed scriptures and books that belonged to Idris, peace be upon him. Methuselah lived for 900 years. The responsibility was then passed on to Lamech, who was the father of Noah, peace be upon them. Lamech had a vision of a fire coming out of his womb, which would later engulf the world. He also saw another vision, as if he were on a tree in the middle of a sea, with nothing else around. Thank you for your attentive listening. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next episode.